Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's ClaritySoft training webinar. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, and I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at ClaritySoft. Today, our topic is making the most of the Quotations module. For the last couple of months, we've been doing different ones. We started with the opportunity or leads module actually, and then the opportunities module. And now this week we're going to work with the quotations module so that you learn all the tips and tricks about using the quotations, as well as learning a little bit about how to create a quotation template, which should get you on your way with doing that if you have not yet done that. So first of all, we'll do a quick overview of the module and how it's set up. One of the first things you'll want to decide upon is, do you need to add custom fields in your quote module? Perhaps those are custom fields that are coming across from your opportunities module that are data information that you want to go into your quote template, or just be in the record in quotes to help you run reports or do searches in the quotations module. So that should be done first. And then you can build your quote template, pulling in the custom fields that you have in your quote record, and have that ready to go. And then creating your new quotation records. There are multiple ways to do it depending on the process that you're using. You can convert an opportunity to create a quote. You can go directly to the quotes module and create a new quote there, and maybe you don't use opportunities, that's fine, and you might go directly from a quote to a sale. So the process, it doesn't matter to ClaritySoft how you do it, it's whatever fits your particular business. But you create your records, add your products to your products and services list in the quote record, send the quote to the template or to the customer using the template that you have built. And then once you've sent it, you can monitor the quote status, checking in to see, what they think, whether they accept it or don't. And you'll do a lot of this for through the opportunity. In a sense, when you're working with the quote module and having sent a quote, you will monitor where you are through your opportunity, because you need to find out, if they want it or not. And then you go back to your opportunity and you can add activities that are follow-up activities in the opportunity to check on the quote status until they accept it. Then you can mark your opportunity as being won, or whatever the next stage is after that. And then finally, you can take your opportunity and convert it, or you can take your quote and you could convert it to an opportunity if you do the quote first, or you take the quote and convert it to a sale, okay? And then we'll take a quick look at reports. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this quote template building till the very end and walk through the whole process first so you understand the process, and then we'll go build our quote template. So what we've been doing is working through the sales process. We've done the leads and the opportunities, and this week we're working on quotations. All right. Okay, let's see here. I want to go here. So what I'm going to do, I have an opportunity here that is ready to move forward. But before I do that, I want to go to my settings. Now, this would require you to be an admin user in your system, so you may not be able to do this. But what I said in the topics there, the first thing you want to do in your settings in your quote record is to add any custom fields. Now, I have opportunities and I have different custom fields in my opportunities. One of them is industry type. One of them is a territory somewhere down here, I think. So any fields that I have in opportunities that I would like to have in quotes, I would need to add into the quotes module. And these can come all the way from leads. So if I go to quotes, custom fields, I can see that I have different ones here. And these are kind of messy. So this is a demo database, but here's a territory field. Here's the industry type. And this is just a field that I added that's a drop-down multi-select. This would allow you to report on your quotes by industry if that's important to you in reports to see, you know, where do you do the most quotes. So again, you think of the custom fields that you want, add them to your quotes. If they're coming from opportunities and originally maybe coming from leads, that's fine. You build your custom fields starting where you want them to go and then build them throughout the database. So that would be your first step, adding those custom fields, getting the custom fields in your user interface templates in the screen layout so they're in the record. And then you can take it from there. Again, you have to be an admin user to do that. So the other thing you might need to add into your system would be a price book, which again is done in settings. Go back there and have products and pricing, price book. And in your price book, this can be imported. You can import a product list. I have kind of a mix here. I've got coffee products and then I have just, you know, generic whatevers and widgets. So yours would not be this messy, but we're going to concentrate on the coffee things. So those can be imported. You create folders or groups, and then you can import into the products and services using the importer. So that's there. So if you want a price book in there, then you want to get that set up ahead of time as well. Okay. Go back. And one other thing I'm going to mention while I'm in here, so I don't forget, a relatively new functionality that we added a few months ago is in settings, which everyone has access to the My Settings section here, okay? And so you can go to settings using click on the gear shape button, My Preferences. And one of the preferences that was added is this record conversion. By default, it's going to say do not open. And what does that mean? It means when you convert a record, an opportunity to a quote or a quote to a sale, or whenever you do a conversion, this says do the conversion, but do not open the new record. Okay. My preference is I would prefer it to open so that when I convert an opportunity to create a quote, it automatically opens that new quote record so I can work with it right away. It just saves me some clicks. Otherwise, I'm still in opportunities and then I got to go to quotations and then I got to open the record from there. So this way, if it automatically opens for you, you're good to go. You work with your quote and you go forward. So that's one that I usually suggest you change it to. And each of you, no matter whether you're an admin user or not, can do that. Okay. And then products and services, you have an option to show as a separate tab, which is the default. Or if your products and services don't get too terribly long, you can show them in the details tab. So where the record details fields are, you can have the products and services show at the bottom of that. You can try that preference. Once you do these, you click apply, log out, log back in, and see which you prefer. I would say if your items are relatively short, you might want to show it in the details tab, and then you don't have to click on the tab to see it. If they're longer, then you probably want to show it as a separate tab, or it kind of clutters up your screen. So you make your choices here of what you want for the different options, click apply, and then you would log out and log back in. When you click apply, it will say, oops, save successfully, and then you're log out, log back in. Mine were already there, so I'm not going to worry about logging out. All right, now we have Brambleberry Tea Company here is ready for me to send them a quote. So I'm going to open the record, and in my sales stages, I'm going to move this to quotation. So this is how your opportunity is going to work in conjunction with your quote record in a sense. They're not connected, but you just have to do it yourself. So I'm going to say sales stage is quotation, which tells me after I save the record that I'm ready to do the conversion. So I would check that everything's filled in. I would check my products and services are correct. That should go into the quote. Everything's there. Because when I convert this, all the data is going to go into the quote record. So I'm going to come up here. And again, I usually like to save the record, leave it open, because if I do a save and close, then I have to go hunt it down in the list of opportunities and and find it. Here, I'm already in the record. I've saved the data and I just come up and click this convert opportunity button. And you can see you convert it to a quotation, a sale, a custom module, or a project. Well, I'm going to a quotation. And what's going to happen, see it says converting opportunity, opening new quotation record. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go to quotes and hunt this down and open it. So I'm now in my new quote record. It automatically is all the data has come across. It's created a new quote number. The name of the opportunity that's in the opportunity field comes into the description field in the quotation. So that's a way for you to know, how it's connected. So whatever, if it's an opportunity number, then it's going to be the number. If you put a name in that field, then it'll be the name. Okay. Your enter date is today. The expiration date you can set, like if you only guarantee your prices for 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, you can put an expiration date on it, kind of speed people up. My industry type came across because that was in my opportunity record. These things I didn't fill, or this one I didn't fill in. And then here's my territory also came across. So this is why you set up those custom fields, because they will transfer across. And then that would allow me to filter on all the food and beverage quotes, filter on all the ones in the South territory or all the food and beverage in the South, whatever. So it just gives you some flexibility in doing reports and filters to see, where the majority of your quotes, what area or industry type and what area. Then you have a status field here, and it's going to be active, accepted, rejected, lost. Others, I'm not quite sure why that's there. So the quote will default to being active, and it will stay active until you come in and change it to accepted or rejected. Now, if somebody rejects a quote, they might want you to redo a quote, okay? And you send them another one. If they completely go away, then you can say it's lost. So that's what that's for. Set that. Terms also can be set under the quotations customization in the settings, what your terms are. And then that becomes what you say. So maybe they're on net 30. And our price is here. Okay, our subtotal comes across because all of our products that were in the opportunity record came over. Okay, now if you need to or you want to in the quote record, you can add tax here. You can add shipping. Sometimes you do in quotes, sometimes you don't, but you would type your tax rate in. And then it would calculate the tax, and then that would get added to the subtotal to create the total. And if you charge, you know, I don't know, $15 in shipping, that gets added. So your subtotal is strictly the items, and then your total is tax plus shipping and handling to get the grand total. All right. And this cost field here is basically coming from your price book where you set up your costs for your products. All right. And then this field I added as a special field for text. So you may want to type in here, oh, let's say, oh, okay. So I could do something like that, or if there's something special about the quote, you know, that is not promotional, you could put whatever special notes you want in there. This is just a text wrap box, okay? This field then can be pulled into the template, which is why I'm using this. And then over here, you have your address, which is pulling in from the account record. So if you see no address showing up here, that means whoever entered the account did not enter an address in the account record, okay? And then your shipping address, if there is a different shipping address that you did not enter in the account record, you can enter a ship to address here, okay? All right, so we have all the data. We're going to save the record. Then we're now ready to send the quote. So we come up here to the top and click on the More button, and we go to Quotation Template. Now, when you go to Quotation Template, you will see one template here, unless your admin has already built some templates for you. You will see Quote Template 1. So that's what you will pick, and then click OK. And your company name, it probably won't be in here unless you entered the information in the My Information under the settings. If you didn't type it there, then what you want to do is type in your company, your name. You only have to enter this once, and then it will remember it. And then you can go to Preview. So what it will do is it will pull up a preview of the quote. So this is just a fairly generic quote where when you design it, you can add your own logo, you can change colors, you can change this to quotation. This is built to, let me zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see this. These are fields being pulled in from the record. So we can see the contact name, the business name, the street. Notice the street is wrapping here. So in design, I probably want to pull that field a little bit wider so it doesn't wrap. And then you have your city, state, and zip. And then this is the ship to. If I had put in a different ship to address, that would appear here. And then this is pulling in you, your phone number, the date of the quote, the expiration date, and then the quote number. So these are all fields being pulled in from the quote record. And then you've got your products. And so this area for the products will collapse or expand according to how many line items you have. So it just automatically does its thing of expanding to include all the products that were entered. And then you can see here, we have the subtotal, we have tax. We don't have a shipping and handling field, okay, but that can be added. And then we have the grand total here. And at the bottom, there's a footer to make the this needs fixed. So the basics are here to get you started with creating a quote. And then what you do, let's say this is all perfect. This is open in its own web tab. So you close this and you return back to this screen. Your next step after you've previewed it, if everything's okay, you can go directly to email. It will pull up an email. Now, in order for this to work, you have to have set up your email settings for outgoing Outlook email settings so that works. I'm assuming most of you have probably done that. If you haven't, you can do it yourself. You can also call our tech support team. They will help you get that set up. So this is already set up. It's to the person. And then it's got some text here saying your quotation, and then it pulls in the quote number, and then it pulls in the first name of the person. And here's the quote you requested, okay, with the quote number. Now, this is just a little template that's in here. You certainly can, type a more personal greeting here. Whatever you want to do, you can do. If there's something special note about the quote that you're sending, type it in, okay? And you can do that. And then down here, the quote is attached as a PDF. And my signature's in here, all right? Then you can also, if you do type something different, you can save it as a template so that you can pull it up again later, or you can insert any other template that you want. All right, so now I'm ready to go. I click send, and I should have sent this to myself, but that's okay. So that gets sent, and off it goes. All right. So that's basically the process. So then what you would do here now is you would do a save and close, and you return back to your opportunity where you started. And then you could open your opportunity and go to a new activity and say, well, I want to do a follow-up. I'm sending the quote today, so I want to give her a couple of days to look at it and see. And again, numerous methods to do it. You can click on new activity up here to open a new activity and schedule it. Or you can click on open activities here, and mine has got to go to this more button and then click plus, okay? Or to me, the easiest thing now is to simply click on this little calendar, pop open my calendar and say, well, on Friday around 11 o'clock in the morning, she should be available. I want to do a quote follow-up call. Set it as a call. It's to Kit. It's Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's on my calendar. And then you could put a note in there, if you remembered the quote number, you could stick it in there. But you just save this, and now you've got this on your calendar to remind yourself to follow up on the quote. And then on Friday, you can call and talk to Kit and see what she thinks and go from there. So that's basically how you do a quote. If you're working opportunities, then you can convert the opportunity to create the quote, send the quote, and then go back to opportunities to monitor until you get an acceptance from the quote and move on to the next stage, okay? And that's if you're doing that. Now, some people I know do quotes first and maybe don't even do opportunities because your sales process is much faster. People call in, they want some quotes on pieces, parts. You create it, you send it to them, and then they either accept it or reject it. So you can do that. You don't have to use opportunities. If you're using just quotations, you can go to the quotations module, create a new quote, put in a company. Okay, why is that not? Oh, if I had less M's in there, it might find it. All right, let's start that over again. I don't know why it's not finding it. It should. Okay. That is very strange. Okay. For some reason, it's not pulling up the company. Let me cancel that. Let me go look at an account that I have, and let's see, we're going to try this one. Normally, when you start typing the name in there, there it is. Okay. Then the right contact is there, so all of that's there. You let the will auto generate a number. And since you're not doing this from an opportunity, this description field will be empty, so you can type whatever you want in there or not type anything, okay? So again, this will be the same kind of thing. You're just basically starting it from here. Notice industry type is not here because you did not convert it, okay? So you will have to fill in the data. And then it's active, you set your terms, and then again, notice you don't have any pricing in here because you don't have any products. So I'm going to save this. And then I would just go to products and services, click the plus sign, and then I can go to my folder and say they want this and this and this. And apply. So it's just really you're skipping the opportunity step and you're just adding your products directly into the quote, setting your quantities, whatever they happen to be. Okay. And okay. And so then you're going to have now back here your subtotal, because the subtotal is taken from the products and services tab. And that's actually something I guess everybody needs to know. If you're not putting in specific products, notice you cannot type in this subtotal field. So if you're doing a quote and you just wanted to make the quote for $10,000, what you do, let me get rid of these. You would have to go to the products and services tab, click this wrench, it will add a custom item, and then you can put in a price. So if the price is $2,000, then you can add it in, and you could add a name for it. You know, it could be consulting services or whatever. So you have it. And if this is going to go into the quote template, you definitely would want a name of the product here, whatever it happens to be. Then notice now your subtotal is filled in. So if you are, for some reason, not using a price book, you can add custom items and put in the total there. Okay, so that's that. So we've walked through the process. Now, once the quote is won, we'll say here that let's do this one here. Let's say that they place the order. So I can make this now accepted. All right. And then if I wanted to, I can take it from here and convert it to a sale. and then it will go and open a sale record for me. I also would need to go back to my opportunity and mark it as being won. So it doesn't automatically do that for you, okay? So I could convert this to a sale from here. It would open my record and take me to the sale record. And then that would be considered basically finished at this point. So you would have, there is a status for the sale, whether it's been invoiced or paid. Okay. So that's theirs. I could say it's been paid. And then that sale is done. Okay. But I would also go back to my opportunity and take it from quotation to having been won. As soon as I find my sales stage, there it is. Okay. So as soon as you mark an opportunity as being won, in the opportunities module, it becomes inactive because you've won it. There's nothing else to do with it. So if you have a filter up here for active, like I have active this month, which means all the active opportunities that have a close date of this month, it's no longer in the list. Okay, but if I look at one this month, there it is. Okay, so you got to pay attention to these filters up here to make sure you don't think your records disappeared. Okay, so now the other fun part is learning how to create a quote template. And what you can go to settings. Now, again, you have to be an admin user to be able to do this. And you could go to the settings menu and under customization and quotations. But the problem there is when you are flipping between the design mode and the preview mode, you don't have any data to see. And it makes it hard to know whether what you're doing is working right. So what I usually suggest is you pick a quote and you can have it open, or you can go to this 3 stacked lines here and go to quotation template. Okay, so I can do it from here, or I can open the quote and click on the more button and go to quotation template from here. It does not matter. That's what we did before. So again, you're going to pick the quote template 1. And then you're going to click this designer button. And only those that are admin users can see that designer button or can click on it. It's not active for anybody else. So this brings you into the designer mode for the quote template. And up here you have a button to go to preview mode. So you can see if you have data, it makes it a whole lot easier to make sure that, oh, I did this right, than if there is no data. So you click between designer and preview. When you get in here, the first thing you want to do to protect yourself from wiping out this original template, in case you really screw things up, you're going to come up here to this menu button, this 3 stack lines, and you're going to do Save As. And then you're going to give your quote template a name. So I'm going to call this, quote, and you would put, what the quote is about or what type of quote it is. You can create multiple types of quotes. You don't have to use just one. You can have many different templates. So I'm just going to put, 04132021, just so I know. And then you click Save. So now I have protected myself where this is no longer the original quote template. Okay. Then the next thing is to start designing. Well, first of all, you kind of need to know what is all this stuff on the screen. So This area obviously is your design area. And on your design area, you have different items. They're called controls because they control what data you see. So this particular control is an image box that allows you to put your logo in it, okay? This one is a text box. Now, what you want to notice is when I click on a control or an item, over here on the right side is the properties. And it now is showing me this is a picture box. And then it's showing me all of the settings. If I go down through here, what the picture box, how the settings are for it, for formatting, et cetera, et cetera. This one is a label, and the text in the label is quote. Then down here, we would have different things for the appearance. And you can see, well, there's the color. The text alignment is top left. Okay. The font is Times New Roman, and it's 30 points, and it's bold. So this is where you're going to go to format your different controls or cells over here. And when you click on one, it will tell you what it is. This is another label with bill to in it. This one is actually a label, but it's a data, it's bound to a field. So it's pulling a data field in for the contact name. Okay. So that's what you are doing here. This one is a product field, okay, that's pulling in the description of the product. That's it, whatever's in the description field. So as you click around, just kind of go and click and explore. The reason these are pink is it's telling you that these are sort of overlapping with each other. And you can move fields to, you can click on a field and either drag it, or I like to use the arrow keys because I have more control. And see, I can make it bump into that one, and then I can make it go away. So that's what that pink means. It still is okay as long as they're not overlapped too much. So that's the main part. Now, over here on the left side, this strip, this is your toolbox where you have the different kinds of fields or controls that you can add. So this one is a label that if I click on it, I can drag over here and drop it into position. Now I have a label here, and then see the text is label 30. I can change this to new text box. Okay, and then when I click over here, it places the text in there, and then I can stretch this whatever I want to do. So you can enter as much text in here as you want, and then it lands in here, and then you resize it. All right. Then you can move this any position you want on your layout. Okay. And then you have other, this is a checkbox. This is an image, a picture box. So you can insert a table. Lots of things here that you can do. You'll probably keep it pretty simple. Down here, this is a page break that you can enter. That's actually what this dashed line is. So you're just going to want to get in here and explore. So this is your toolbox. This is your properties for each of your controls. The other thing to know is you have different sections to your layout. And those are in these vertical boxes over here, where this is our top margin. So this is the margin at the top of the paper. And right now it is 1 inch. If I want to make it smaller, I can get on the line between the top margin and the group header and push this up and then I could make my margins smaller. Likewise, at the bottom of the page, I have a bottom margin. Now, you may need to back out a little bit to see things. Oh, actually, there's my bottom margin. And if I wanted the bottom margin to be a little bit smaller, that's the page footer. I think I have to push it up this way. Yeah. So I could make it match my top margin. And so that will change your margins. Then this group header is where all these different fields are going. And you might find that you have additional information that you need to get in here into this area. Well, that's okay. You just get on the line between and pull this down. Now, this is the tricky part. These headings go with the detail area. This is where your line items are going to appear. So even though there's only one row of fields here, this is where, depending on how many items you have in your product list, this will expand, okay? But you only have this one little narrow area, which is basically one row. But these headings need to go right on top of this. So what you have to do if you do expand this group header area is you need to move these down, and it gets a little tricky in how you select them. I think I did it. Yeah, you have to get it. Then I'm just using my arrows to move down, and I want to bring that right back down there on top of where my products are. Then I could move these fields around. I could put other fields up here. So you can use these areas to grow and to shrink. I'm going to move that back up so I can shrink this back up. Okay, and then the group footer is the same way. I can stretch it. What I want to do here, I want to pull this down because, and this is that page break, I want to drag it down as soon as I can get a hold of it. There we go. Put that down here. That special notes field that we had in the quote record, I want to put that here. Okay. So I am going to go over to this side, and along the far right, we have 3 buttons. The top button is the properties, which, as you already know, you click on this and you see the properties for the selected item. This is your field list button, so that when you click on it, you now are going to get a list of all the data fields that are available to you. So you have 3 sets in a sense. My information is going to be your information, your name, your address as entered into that preview window for the quote. That's what that's for. All right, so you can pull anything there. That's basically what's here. Submitted by my information would be the name, okay? My information phone. So that's where those fields are coming from, all right? Then we have quotation fields without the item lines and quotation details that contain the different product item lines. Well, that special notes field, I don't need the items lines, so I can just come over here and they're in alphabetical order. So you find special notes and you're going to drag it over here and place it where you want. And then you want to make it big enough to display the text that you might bring into there. Okay. So I basically have put that there. Now, when I do this, I want to format it. How do I want the text that comes in there to look? So I'm going to go back to properties, and I am going to, I already expanded appearance. So we have a border color. We have whether you want borders or not. You can choose borders or no borders here. Okay. Then we have font, and you can choose a font, whatever you would like. So you probably want to pick a font for your whole quote template. And so you're consistent. And there's pretty many of them here. I think Calibri is up here if you want it. Yeah, there it is. So you could pick that. Then you say, well, what is the text alignment inside the box? Well, currently it's top left, which makes sense. It's going to be just text you're typing. But these are all your choices. I can do top left, middle left, which would be centered, bottom left, which means it would line up on the bottom but go upward. Okay. Top center would be it start at the top and center the text, middle center, bottom center. So justify means like in Word, when you justify text going across a page, it's going to have straight right and left edges on the margins. This would be the same thing. It would have straight edges for your text. And then this would be right justified. So top left in this case is probably fine. All right. And then you can, some of these other things you don't really need to worry about, but you can change a color. Maybe for some reason I want to make this blue. And you can put in an actual color code here if you know, like if you have a specific code for your company, text colors and stuff, you can put the code in either as RGB or as this number, which I forget what it's called. And then click OK. That will change the color. So all of that is being set in that field. And then I want to make sure I come and save this. Okay. Now, how do we put a logo in? Click on this, and then the properties is for the picture box, image source. I'm going to click here. Then I can go find wherever the images are. I preset this up so I didn't have to go hunt it down for you. And I have this logo here. And notice, oh, gee, it's way too big. Well, you come back over to properties and you go to the sizing, and then you say squeeze. Squeeze it into the box. So that's what it will do. Okay. And if I make this a little bit bigger, see it gets bigger. If I stretch the box on the corner, it'll stay squeezed in the box. Okay. So that one's done. Maybe this one, I don't want the word quote. I would prefer quotation, and I want to make it proper case. So I can type that in here, come over here, and then stretch the box wider to accommodate. Then now this is left justified in my box. I might want to make it right justified. So I'm going to come down here, and instead of top left, I'm going to do top right. That will kick it over there. And maybe I don't like that blue because it doesn't go well with my coffee colors. So I can figure out kind of where brown is. Just going to grab a brown here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to copy this. Okay. So I've now changed my color. And then I can come down here, and if I want to select multiple things, I'm holding the control key down and clicking. Then I can go to the background color. And what I did is I copied that brown code number and I'm pasting it. So I will get the same brown. I can do that. So you can see that you can start to select things. If you want to select a whole bunch of blocks, drag across them, then you could change the font for all of them at one time. So I've wanted all of these to go to Calibri, and that would probably be just fine. Okay. So then when I click, now those are all set to Calibri. I did turn off the bold so I could go back and select the things that should be bold, like this and this and this and this. Oops. Now I'm holding Control key down again. All right. And then I could come over here and click on bold to make them all bold. So you can get the picture on starting to do this. Again, once you've got something done, save it before you move to your next step. And then if you want to preview it, you come up here and click preview and you've got it. Okay. And then you can see now in my preview, there's my text that I told it to be blue. And this is the text that came out of that special notes box in the quote record. So you can do that. Then you go back to designer. Now, a couple of tips and tricks that I've discovered. One of the questions that people come up with in the detail list of items, when they enter their items in the quote record in ClaritySoft, and then it's in a particular order, and it'll be in 1, 2, 3, 4 order, and then they come over here and they're not in the same order. So how does one fix that? What you do is you click in this detail area to select basically this whole area. Then, and you'll see up here, it says detail. Then you come over on the right and you go, let me collapse this, to the data section. And then it says sort fields. And here it is, sort by lines quantity. So what it's actually doing is going to sort by the quantity of the items, not the line number. So, and it's sorting in descending order. So what you want to do is click here and you're going to scroll down until you see lines. Let's see, line number, which in the quote record is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to choose line number, and then you're going to change it to ascending. So there's 3 clicks. You have descending, no sorting, and ascending. And so you want it to go from 1 upward. So that's a trick to remember. I get this question quite a bit, so I wanted to make sure I told you that. I showed you how to move these detail things here. The other thing that might occur is you might want to add, we have quantity, item number, and description. You might want, if you don't use item numbers, you might want to use an item name, or you might want to insert a column for an item name, okay? So what you have to do here then is you click in this area, and then you're getting the table cell, and you've got these little buttons here that say insert row above, insert row below, delete a row, insert cell, and then there's delete a cell, and then there's insert column to the left or insert column to the right. Well, I want to insert a column to the left of that description field. So notice what it does. It sticks it in there. Then I have to come down onto the field and I need to insert a column to the left so that I now have the ability to pull in a field. And then I would go to my fields and I would go back up here, collapse this because I need the item lines. And I'm going to expand this one, go down to lines, item name. And I drag this over and drop it. Okay. Then I can click in this table cell, go back to properties and put in product name, item name, whatever I want to call it. Let's see if I can type right. Okay. And then when I click back over here, I have that. Then I would need to format this to match these. Okay. And you can resize things by getting on the item. And then you can shrink this over. And then you can shrink this over. Now, one of the things I'm doing here, I'm staring at the screen with my nose against it. If you find yourself doing that, come up here and magnify this, okay? Now, here's another thing I am going to tell you because I've run into this. Right now, my properties box or column is not encroaching upon my design. If I get this big enough to where this is over the top, sometimes when you click on stuff and you come over here, sometimes things aren't working right. It seems to be okay now, but if you run into that situation, just back this down until they're not on top of each other, and then you should be fine. But I've bumped into that a few times. So that's just another little trick. All right, so hopefully given you enough to get started. The other thing, I have people who have designed quotes that actually are a quote with lots of text. They've got contract information in here. I just worked with somebody yesterday that put together an 8-page quote document where he has detail on the products and then he has lots of paragraphs of contract information. So what you would do is you would come down here and with this group footer, just keep dragging it, drag it down and drag it down, and you move this page break with it or just get rid of it temporarily. But then you can have a big text box and then you, so like this text box here, oops, I could bring down here and I could stretch it all the way across, stretch it down, and then I could copy and paste. Let's see here. What have I got? I can paste it in here. So you can copy and paste text from a Word document into here. So it could be contract language. You can have it all in one big text box that you just keep stretching that down and going, or you can have multiple text boxes for different paragraphs. So you can be pretty creative with this. One thing I do want you to know, and I'll have, when we send out the link to you as participants on the recording, I will have our person who sends that to you include the link here. This is to documentation for this DevExpress reporting and creating reports. And so this can give you some ideas too on how to work with it. All right. So we've reached our hour. I think I've given you enough to scatter your brains or clutter your brains with. So hopefully this has been helpful, especially on the template. Let me go back to here. And of course, always thank you for attending. We're always glad to have a good crowd attend. And if you need any help, call our support team. They do a lot of quote development for people, so they know them pretty well. And you can call them at 888-838-7487, extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com. And always give us some feedback. Let us know future topic requests. I just created a schedule for May and June, but please send us your ideas on what you'd like to have, as a resource in our different webinars, because I know a lot of people are using the webinar recordings to learn things. So we want to make sure we've got topics that are helpful to you. All right. So with that, you go have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll talk for the next session. Thanks.